It's Dean 7904 if you want to get all technical. I mean, that is the daily fantasy handle around the industry. It's actually not 5:30 on the East Coast. That'd be a big old liar. It's 5:32 if you want to get all technical on the East Coast. 2:32 on the West Coast, and that'll be 4:32 Tennessee time. So, of course, and it's just time for the flagship show here at Rotogrinders. It's called Grinderslive. Baseball season is still happening. I know football is going on. It's in full swing. NBA is on layaway. It's coming around soon. NHL is coming around as well, too. But this is the dog days, man. One more season until it gets really a lot of fun as far as the playoffs kick in the gear for baseball. Joining me today, it's Chief Justice Will Priester. You know from such things, a lot of things. His prize picks on the old Twitter machine. Follow him for that. He'll give you his picks pretty much every single day on Twitter. And today, he's going to give you some picks in the show. So stick around for that. You know him from what's your food podcast? I should know the name of this.
Food for Thought.
Oh,
I will say, we recorded a good one last night. If you haven't listened to it, I would check it out. It was a good one yesterday, Dean. I mean, tons of fun, man. Tons of fun.
Well, it's a first look NFL podcast, first look in the week for NFL DFS, and it's also you guys talk about food at some point. You kind of meld it in there, and
yeah, but it's not your traditional first look podcast. We just look, man. It's the barbershop of DFS. Okay, come on by, get your hair cut, get a tape up, get ready for the week, right? And then after your beard's grown out and you've got that gray hair in there from Sunday sweating all those lineups, you come back to the barbershop on Tuesday, let us give you, black it out again or whatever color you need, shape you up, you're ready for the week. We start you out, wash, rinse, repeat. Get in there, folks. We're having tons of fun.
I know Coming to America is your favorite movie. I feel like there's an inspiration here. You guys talking about like Joe Louis and Rocky Marciano the whole time? Is that what's going on?
Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano. Joe was 137 years old. Rocky Marciano.
I don't know how old he was, but
I'm gonna tell you something. I talked to Frank Sinatra. Frank told me Joe was 137 years old. You ain't talking to no Frank Sinatra.
We didn't plan that
out.
I
love that movie.
That just sort of happened organically.
Man.
What up, chat? Do like it. I mean, come on. If they're better, I don't have any thumbs up or thumbs. You can't have any thumbs down for that. Throw the thumb up for that one. Thumb up, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. We're still grinding baseball. Of course, you guys are into football, I presume. There's a crossover. There's a Venn diagram. Lots of football content getting pumped out daily as well on the Rotogrinders feed, including Chief Justice and the Luch. You guys have your podcast there as well. Myself, Daigle, Lord Reeves. We're talking tomorrow night, 9:00. That's kind of my first look as far as week 4. Super, super exciting. We have producer Eli with us today. Eli, if you guys can help him out, if you're throwing the questions there in chat, just make it easier to compile those questions and throw them my way. When you have your questions, ask any questions you guys want in there in chat. As far as today's slate, any specific strategies you like, somebody we don't talk about, somebody who wants to elaborate on, give us the details. Is it for DraftKings? Is it for FanDuel, Yahoo, wherever? Is it for cash? Is it for tournaments? All that good stuff. Just put a QQ in front of that. Just QQ and then ask your question. Much easier to find that in the comments. All right, much appreciate that. All right, Will, give me the screenshot as far as this 13 gamer going down. And I think one of the important things to think about when you're making lineups is kind of something I led to or kind of hinted at, is that there are motivation. There are some teams that are highly, highly motivated. There are other teams that just, they're done, man. They checked out months ago and they're looking at the calendar, 5 more days, man, 6 more days, whatever it is.
1, 2, 3, Cancun.
Yeah, they're going Cancun, they're going fishing, they're going somewhere, man.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that's kind of driving my thought process. Not everything, but a good portion there, because there are some clear teams that are heavily motivated today, and some a little less so, and some are just kind of been on cruise control, waiting for the playoffs to start, and haven't really had to do a heck of a lot the last month or so. Is that something that's working into your thought process as far as tonight, and other thoughts as far as the overview of this slate?
Yeah, for sure. I was looking over it earlier, and excuse me, folks, I didn't quite memorize the whole ordeal, but clearly the Toronto-New York game is important. The Boston game is important. They just need to keep winning. Got kind of smacked around by the Yankees, so they need to keep winning. The Atlanta Phillies game is important. And then the not ironically, but the A's and Seattle game, that's another one that's still somewhat important statistically. They can still get in. So, and then, is St. Louis going to lose any games?
Never.
Who knows? But, those are for sure some of the important games, because when I was looking at it earlier, like, of course, the Dodgers and the Giants are in. Dodgers are a wild card, by the way.
Well, not officially, but yeah, that's their battle.
But I mean, yeah. But so, it's like, I'm just saying weird because of how great, them and the Giants have been. And I think if it ended today, they're
Brewers, two games behind the Giants right now, the Dodgers. The Giants lost Brandon Belt, by the way, with the hand. But go ahead, you were saying.
Yeah, Brewers are there. White Sox have clinched.
They've been chilling forever. Yeah.
Yeah. The Rays are in, the Astros are in. Like, I'm just talking about teams that are like division leaders that are there. And right now the Braves are in first, so we need to keep winning games. So, like I said, those games are big for everybody. And so in terms of how I'm going to rank them, clearly teams that need to win, like, if we parlay that into pitching, you got to think Zach Wheeler's going as long as he can go tonight. Like, as long as he can go. Like, if he can go 110 pitches, like if he's at 88 pitches through 6, he's coming out for 7. And if it's a 0-0 game and he's at 100 pitches at the end of 7, he might come back out for 8. Like, those are the types of things, maybe I've thought about at pitching, which kind of makes, I think Wheeler interesting, Charlie Morton interesting, Chris Sale very interesting. I know he was at like 89 pitches, but he's facing Baltimore.
A weird one. We'll talk about Sale. He's a weird one because they have kind of like, they've capped his innings. And Boston is, I'm not going to say they're more or less, they're not a lock to be in. They've fallen back a bit after getting swept by the Yankees, but here, right. I'll go ahead and pull this stuff up because,
Boston, sure. Absolutely.
Boston and New York and Toronto, they're battling for 2 spots. Like, if Seattle has like an 8% chance, like if everything goes right for them, and Oakland is still technically mathematically alive, but they have less than a 1% chance. But Toronto essentially has to win out, and it's like do or die. It's a wild card game for them every single day. Toronto has to win.
As good as they've been most of the season, they may not get in. How crazy is that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that the AL East is so good. And the Rays, of course, the Rays beat all those teams. And, Baltimore is there, kind of a punching bag. And eventually, I think in theory, they can be good in a couple of years. But we're talking about today. 538 has a projected Toronto as 41% as far as the chance to make the playoffs. Boston at 76% and the Yankees at 74%. So they're basically battling out those 2 spots. Atlanta, your Braves are essentially in, like they're 93% chance. And they're facing Philadelphia. Also, it's kind of sort of an elimination game. Philly needs to sweep the Braves. Like, that's that. They don't sweep them, they're in a lot of trouble. They're 3 games behind in the loss column. So yeah, you said Wheeler is going to be pushed. And the weird thing about him is we've been saying that for a while. It's just he's not been efficient. It's like his pitch count is just kind of been hiked up there a lot. So he's not really pitching a ton of innings, like 5 or 6 and 6 2/3, which is good, but not elite. But last time I checked, nobody throws more baseballs per game than Zach Wheeler. Not a great matchup versus Atlanta, but Atlanta on the other side, also throwing Charlie Morton. Not a great matchup, but Atlanta also, they want to get this thing over with, man. They want to pop the champagne and they want to get that W. And I'm not sure if tonight would mathematically lock it up. Probably not, maybe not, but close to. You probably know. What are your thoughts?
I think if we get 2 wins in this series, I think we're pretty much guaranteed now. I think our magic number was 5 a couple of days ago, and I think we did squeeze off one off Milwaukee the other day.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I'd have to pull it up, but I feel like we need 2 or 3 wins, but don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure I'm about right though.
Yeah. And the Sale one is just kind of weird. If you sort of run it back since coming back, obviously coming back from injury, coming back from COVID issues as well. His pitch count has been 89, 79, 86, 95, 80. And going no further. Well, he went 6 innings once. But going no further than usually around 5 innings or so. And this is also a game that they project to be ahead. It's baseball, who the heck knows, right? But in theory, they could be up 6-1 in the 6th inning. And is Sale still out there? Probably not. Maybe he's thrown 75 pitches if he's been super efficient, sure. But it's just hard. But like, that's the thing. He can throw 10 strikeouts in 5 innings, and who cares if he gets the quick hook because he's already there. but there's a lot of good pitchers on tonight's slate that we can kind of have that conversation about. And my favorite, by the way, you mentioned it, the Giants and the Dodgers, both two teams that are heavily motivated. Bueller's going out there today. Not a great matchup necessarily against San Diego. He's not been in great form of late, but like it's still Walker Bueller and his price is pretty good. And then Logan Webb, who's just, coming into the season, nobody thought of Logan Webb as this great pitcher, but he's been phenomenal. He's probably got the best matchup, arguably the best matchup on paper. Two biggest favorites on the board are Sale and Webb. Webb is my favorite pitcher amongst all these big names. Is that weird? Well, where are you on that?
Yeah, I do like Webb. I think it's a good price for a guy that's got just as much upside in the right matchup as Wheeler. And what I'm saying is, if he gets 30 points tonight at 8,900, like he's going to be optimal, I think. So I'm with you on Webb. Bueller, his price has come down some. I know he's been terrible here recently, but I feel like he could easily turn it on and get 25 points. I do think maybe he's worn down a little bit, just personally, because his season-long numbers versus his, 30-day numbers they're just drastically different. So I think maybe he's a little tired, but all in all, I think he's fine at that price. But, for me, absolutely Webb at 89, Wheeler up top at 10.5, I think is most important. And Chris Sale's your wild card at 94, and along with Charlie Morton, who's also, I think, gonna run this thing tonight. If who run it, he's gonna run it if they're close.
It's weird. Charlie Morton, like with age 37, 38, 39, 40, whatever he is. Then Adam Wainwright, who also has been just spectacular, and he's on a Cardinals team that just refuses to lose. They're essentially locked into the playoffs now, not mathematically in just yet, but it's going to happen. Wainwright's a guy who for most of the season, I just kind of shook my head at it and said, nah, but like, sure, you can play Wainwright. Why not? And Milwaukee's one of those teams. Again, there's so many studs, like so many big names. You haven't talked about Yu Darvish just yet.
Yeah. Can I go back to the Braves for a minute?
Go ahead.
So the Braves need to win this series 2-1 at least. Like if it looks like if the Phillies, let me see, hold on a second. Hold on. The Braves can clinch the NL East. All they have to do is sweep the 3 games. So we got to sweep. So that's why I say if we sweep the Phillies, we're in. It's no contest. Anything less, and the division is still going to be up for grabs going into the weekend because the Phillies are 9-7 over us on the season. You get what I'm saying? So we need to sweep to be over them in terms of the standings. The weird thing is we've outscored them, but they've beat us more games. So I'm hoping that
wait, is that a tiebreaker? Is it not like a day one? Don't they have a game 163 if they're tied? I think it's
yeah. If there's a tie, but what I'm saying is if we sweep, we're good. If we don't sweep, then now we're it's getting tight again.
I think just as long as you get one, you're probably fine. But like obviously you want to get it over with because
let's sweep this thing. Let's sweep this thing.
And then there's the tricky one is Woodruff, right, for Milwaukee.
So well, I'm sorry. Last thing. I'm sorry, Dean. Please forgive me.
Go ahead.
If the Phillies lose, if they lose one game, let me see. They will be eliminated from the wild card race with their next loss or the next Cardinals win. So they've got to win the NL East to get in. So if they lose a game or the Cardinals win, capiche, done.
Yeah, the only hope for Philadelphia is that they win the division. Woodruff has not pitched beyond 6 innings in his last 9 starts. Milwaukee's one of those teams. I was talking about some teams just kind of chilling, waiting for the playoffs, like the White Sox. That's Milwaukee as well. And Woodruff has been spectacular. He's been very, very good, but they haven't pushed him a ton. He did throw 101 pitches on the 6th of this month versus Philadelphia. 93 last time out, 90 last time out. And when his playoffs start, it'll be what, Tuesday or Wednesday, right? He'll be well rested. He'll be on 7 or 8 days because there's no way he's going to pitch on Sunday. That would make no sense. How much do they push Woodruff is kind of my question. It's not a great matchup, fine ballpark to pitch in. He should be okay. I don't think he wins the slate. I don't think he loses the slate for you. He's just kind of sitting there. I don't feel like they push him. And again, it's kind of the Chris Sale situation. Sale, of course, his team has more motivation. If they have to push him, if it's like a 2-1 game, if it's tight, how do you think Milwaukee handles Woodruff?
Like you said, he hasn't gone over 6 innings. Last time he faced St. Louis, though, 6 innings, 10 Ks.
The last time out.
Yeah, he was fine. I would say in this spot, though, if anything goes wrong, like I don't feel like they have a need to just stretch him out. They're already essentially done with their season. Whereas, a guy like Sale, and I'm just kind of comparing them because he's the next guy down. I think Sale needs to be in somewhat of a groove. Like, I think he could get up into the 90s this game. And I do think he's got more K upside than Woodruff in this spot. I know Woodruff got 10 Ks against St. Louis, but, St. Louis is still a fairly low strikeout team overall. So I'm gonna trust the season-long trend, and I think I still side with Sale.
Yeah, Woodruff, this matchup against St. Louis, specifically as far as the lineup, they strike out just 21.1%. That's not a big number. The K guys are O'Neill at 32%, Carlson at 25%, and DeYoung at 24.3%. Of course, Woodruff this year, 30.5% Ks. That's excellent. The walks are great at 6.2% as well. I did notice, I was in lineup HQ earlier, and there was some interesting people. I know the chat likes themselves some pitcher information, some umpire information. I'm going to give a refresh on this, and it came in unusually early. Sometimes this will change when the series do start, but this is what we have as far as right now, as far as the umpires. A fair bit of extreme information as far as the umpires. Extreme hitters umpire for Toronto and New York. So that's for Hyun-Jin Ryu and Jamison Taillon. We have a hitters umpire for Ronaldo Lopez there for the White Sox. A person named Riley O'Brien is throwing baseballs today, making his major league debut. Good for him. I'm not in on that. Packy Naughton is back. He's got an extreme hitters umpire. AJ Alexi has an extreme hitters umpire. And that could be a problem because he's one of the interesting guys. If you want a salary saver, he's demonstrated some strikeout ability in the minors. Not a big sample we have in the majors, but he also is super wild. And I don't obsess over the umpire data, but if I have a young pitcher that's super wild, I don't want an extreme hitters umpire behind the plate. It doesn't mean he can't get there, just makes the path a little bit trickier. And then Chris Sale as an extreme pitchers umpire, one extreme pitchers umpire for Chris Sale. And of course, Bruce Zimmerman. I don't think it's going to save him on the other side. Does that stuff do anything for you?
I mean, it does make me a lot more interested in Sale as kind of a top end play. Maybe he gets to paint the corners, 1 or 2 pitches where guys looking and they think it's a little bit outside, and we get the strikeout call, and strike. We get that call.
Was that a Frank Drebin like Naked Gun?
Yeah. good catch, D. And
I love that movie as a kid. Naked Gun.
Yeah. And so perhaps we get that, and that saves him 5 or 6 pitches in an inning, and that's the difference between 7 Ks and 9 Ks, perhaps. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the way I view that. So I do like Sale quite a good bit today, and the ownership's reflected in that. He's 29. We've got him projected at 29%. So he's right there. Wheeler, we got him projected at 21, so he's right there. So the good pitchers are the good pitchers. I was very surprised to see Woodruff projected at 34. And I think it's just because of the last start with the 10 Ks. But I mean, if you look at the what was the last start? Yeah, the start prior to that, we only had 4 Ks. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's like, which Woodruff are we going to get today, or which Cardinals offense is going to show up today? I'm going to side with the hot Cardinals offense, the red hot Cardinals offense, and the cardiac Cardinals. Let's go with that. And
I find them so boring, the Cardinals. I'm not rooting against it. I just don't find them as another fun team to watch as a neutral fan.
This is one of those seasons, and look, they are not the best team in the MLB. Clearly, they're not.
No.
But doesn't this just feel like one of those weird Cardinals runs where everything just keeps coming together and they just run their way to the World Series? Like, it's baseball. You know how this goes. The best team mostly wins, but not always.
Are we going to see John Lester start a playoff game in the year 2021?
Oh, God.
Or is he coming out of the bullpen? I don't know where he lines up.
Please.
Nicholas, like, who's starting? I can't.
I don't
good
know.
For the Cardinals. I know, best fans in the world, I'm told. 16 straight wins, but good Lord, I find them so boring. I'm taking a peek here as far as the ownership we have here in DK. Sale was number 1 at 35%. I'm okay with that. I think I agree with that. This one's kind of interesting, and I don't know if I agree with it.
I need to update. Thank you, Dean. You said 35%. I said, what? I need
Yeah.
to update. Please
Hit that
forgive me,
refresh
folks. I
button,
said
man.
29%, and that is not the case.
Brady Singer we have as our second most popular pitcher in DK at 29%. And like the other part of it, we'll talk about hitters soon enough, some stacks, all that good stuff. But like the prices on DK are so goofy that you don't even necessarily need salary savers as far as pitchers. Brady Singer is like fine. It's a good matchup, I guess, but it's not that much more for somebody like Morton, who's fully motivated. Not a great matchup, but a good pitcher. Wheeler, same deal. Webb is what, $600 more than Brady Singer? You get out of town if you're. How is Singer going to be more popular than Webb? I don't get this. Of course, this is not finalized. You know, the closer we get to lock, the more refined it becomes. But I'm not in on this, or I hope this is true, because we have Webb at 50%, and I'm
not in, or I hope it's true.
I don't believe that Webb's just going to be 15% owned. I don't believe that, and if he is, I'll be thrilled. And I'm not doing a free victory lap before the game starts.
I mean, he could be though, Dean. I mean, if you look, I think we've got enough because Sale is under 10K, Morton's under 10K. I think people are probably more interested in Wheeler, which they are, Wheeler, Sale, which is why I think a lot of people are so interested in Brady Singer, because he's slightly cheaper, which doesn't make sense to me. Like I said, I'm with you. Here's the other thing. Logan Webb has one of the later games, so you know how this goes. We want a little bit more.
Pitchers, though, we don't care about that. Yeah, hitter. That's more of a hitter thing, isn't it?
I don't think so. I think it's an all thing. Listen, it's no different, Dean, than almost any sport, even in NBA.
Yeah.
You think everybody says, "Oh, late night hammer LeBron," or what? But then you go and check the ownership, and these late games they just don't get the ownership.
LeBron's always questionable, and I don't want to lock him in 3 hours before.
Yeah,
he'll always
I know.
Play, but that 1% chance, like
but you get my point though, right? These later games don't carry the ownership. That's why I used to love it. You know, when Julius Randle was in LA, I mean, he was like the late game special for me. In fact, I'll never forget when I made it to the FanDuel Live final. I know this, we're talking MLB. Guys, just roll with us, please.
It's the last week of the season. Go for it.
The MLB Live, my first NBA Live final, it was actually a late night game stack of Philly and the Lakers. I had Ben Simmons, Embiid, I had Randall and somebody. I mean, and that's the game where Embiid scored like 100 points, fantasy points. No, seriously. Yeah. Ben Simmons had like 70. I think Randall had like 50 or 60. It was insane. And so by the end of the night, I was just running away from folks. And that's how I got to, the FanDuel Live final. And I mean, just beautiful late night stuff, man. So I'm with you.
That was back when Ben Simmons was good, right?
Hey, he was good from a fantasy perspective because he was awful last year. I think Ben Simmons averaged like 30-something fantasy points, and he was 8 or 9K most of the season. Like, what is that?
I lost so much money on Simmons last year, I'm sure, because I just kept like, well, at some point he's going to put points in the bucket and start stealing. All right. Basketball's around the corner. Can't wait to talk about it. As far as Singer, just that matchup there for Cleveland, there are some strikeouts in that lineup, plenty of strikeouts, 26.3%. Very strikeout heavy lineup. It's backloaded for what it's worth. You know, Ray is at the 4-hole at 32%. Zimmer at going from 5 through 9. Zimmer is 36%. Chang is 30%. Perez 37%, and Jimenez at 27%. Singer of the season, not a great K pitcher, 22.7%. That's fine, I guess. And Savali on the other side is like okay. And again, there's strikeouts in that Kansas City lineup, especially in the back half, 23.3%.
Dean, we're more afraid of Kansas City than we are Cleveland at this point in the season.
I think so, yeah.
And what I'm saying is that I'm judging that by the pitcher ownership projections.
Yeah. I see a question in chat. Just going to take a peek over there. Bassett pitch counts. I don't think it's going to be high. It's awesome to see the Hound back. Good for him. He took a shot off the face. I'm not sure if you saw that, but he pitched 3 innings or so.
It was 48 pitches.
Yeah, they're not going to push.
I mean, I think if he gets, I think he could go to 60. That put him probably around 4 innings.
Yeah, but at 8.5K, you can't play that.
No. Yeah. I'm not saying you do it. I'm just saying he asked about the pitch count, not do we play him. So I'm just saying I think he gets to 60.
The general increment, you kind of work your way up like 15 more pitches. Yeah. At your allotment. So yeah, if he throws 65-ish, even still, like not enough. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Good to see him back in the game. but just not really
I
rosterable.
mean, if you're in the prop game, if you can get anything at 3.5, I take it.
I promised the
In
people
terms of
some
strikeouts.
props. Do you have any pitcher props for the people out there?
I do. And what I'm going to do tonight, Dean, is I'm going to give it out. I do like Logan Webb over 5.5. He's coming in. And this is me, and then one of my favorites is Tyler Anderson over 3.5, Jameson Taillon over 3.5. I know Jameson Taillon's coming off the IL, but I still think 3.5 is a touch too low. I think he should have came in at 4.5, and maybe he did, and I just got it late, and the line was where I thought it would be. Same thing for Tyler Anderson. I think 4.5 is kind of their line, and so I think they're a strikeout too low. I understand that there's some speculation on Anderson in terms of, is he going to pitch the whole game? Is he just going to be an opener? I'm willing to accept that risk. On Prize Picks, also, I do think there's tremendous value in Hunter Renfroe over 8 fantasy points or over 1.5 bases. He's like my home run call of the night. And yes, he is going to be 20% owned. But listen, these numbers, the guy in terms of 91 mile per hour velocity pitches, these are the numbers. And these are at 26 batted ball events. 233 ISO, 45% hard hit rate, 93 mile per hour average exit velocity, 354 average distance hit, and an 86% contact rate. I'm in like that. I mean, and I'm not saying it's automatic, but I mean, he could get 2 hits and then that'll still get you there in terms of over the 1.5 bases. And I think they've got over 1.5 bases. I know you guys hear me talk about Prize Picks all the time, but they've got him at 1.5 bases on Underdog. So I absolutely took him over 1.5 bases there. And then, I didn't think I was going to get here today, Dean, but even on Thrive Fantasy, I'm playing a little bit over there tonight.
You're all over the place.
Listen, no props left behind. That's going to be my new hashtag. No props left behind. So I'm in on that. And I've got, trying to get back here to, let's see. My contest upcoming. Here we go. And so on that one of the good ones that I like from there was actually Miguel Cabrera over 1.5 total hits and RBI. So here's what that means. If he hits a single RBI, you've already won the prop because that's a hit and RBI. You're over that 1.5. And they're giving us that one at actually better odds than the under. I'm not going to explain Thrive Fantasy today. I'll start doing that next month when we're fully, have fully ingratiated ourselves. But then they've also got Xander Bogaerts in terms of their tournament over 1/2 a hit or over 1/2. I'm assuming he's going to get 1 hit in this game. Just take the over. Those are like free points. But anyway, those are some of my favorite props on the night. And then if you really want to get froggy, you guys know how I like to put together 5-pick flexes. This is what I would do. Chris Sale, over 6.5 strikeouts. Hunter Renfroe, over 8 fantasy points. Logan Webb, over 5.5 strikeouts. Tyler Anderson, over 3.5 strikeouts. And then I would take Jameson Taillon over 3.5. That's kind of my big 5-pick. I hit that one. I'm getting back 10x my money. And I've got some other smaller ones here and there. Anyway.
You're going to get 4 out of 5 there. Who's going to be the guy that ruins it? Who's going to be the guy of those 5?
Nobody. We're going 5 out of 5 on this one. Anderson, Webb, Taillon, Renfroe, Chris Sale. Let's get it.
I'm looking at our projections. Actually, this is the bats projections, and it's pretty tight. Like as far as the pitchers, and we'll move on and talk hitters and stacks in just a second. We'll knock out your questions again. If you're guys there in chat, what up? Like, subscribe, turn on notifications, fire off a question. Our producer Eli will be grabbing it. And please, before you're asking that question, put a QQ in front of it. QQ, ask your question. That's an easier way to find it. Like as far as our projections on DK, like Sale, we have as the top guy. This is raw points. Sale, Woodruff, Wheeler, Singer, Morton, Webb, Bueller, Wainwright. All those guys are within less than 5 points of each other. It's just really, really condensed. And we poked holes in all of them, and we think they're all playable too. And just like play the ones you like. And if this ownership is accurate, again, I love Logan Webb at 15%. I think he's the best play of the bunch. I'm probably pairing him with Sale I'm only playing a few cash games, but
yeah,
the few I'm going to play.
That feels right.
I'm playing mostly tournaments tonight. Give me your final thoughts as far as pitchers. We'll talk stacks in a second.
Yeah, I think Sale and Webb are kind of my top 2, even for tournaments. Webb's not near any of this ownership in tournaments. I do think if I had to choose between Wheeler and Woodruff, I would go Wheeler tonight. just because I think they're going to let him go. I do like Charlie Morton. Like, I think he can get 30 points as well, but he's not. I don't like him better than Webb against Arizona.
I see somebody in the chat talking about Hyunjin Ryu, and Toronto's desperate, and if he's been pummeled his last 2 times out, if they lose this game, they're essentially eliminated from the playoffs, more or less. Not exactly mathematically, but whatever. You know what I mean? They kind of have to win out. There's a quick hook. Like, and there's strikeouts in that New York lineup too. And if he gives up 2 or 3 homers, he's probably gone. I don't think he sticks around very long. But in theory, he's got a big variance, I guess, potential outcomes, I would say, because the hook will be quick, but also they just really need to win this game. So there you go. I think he's interesting, but I don't feel good about it against the Yankees. But we know how that goes. Rostering pitchers against New York, it's the ultimate, like, play both sides of it in tournaments. Give me your thoughts as far as stacks today. I think the best stack on the board, well, it's an interesting conversation. I think the best stack on the board is Boston. You got all the boxes checked. They're fully motivated. They're on the road, locked in for 9 innings, facing a bad pitcher in a great ballpark, rough, ridiculous prices on DK specifically. The prices on Boston and DK are absurd. We do our little quick cash breakdown. Spoiler alert: it's going to be all Boston and basically Colorado. I like Boston today. Everybody likes Boston today. It's all about, like, well, okay, it's a game of chicken. If everybody likes Boston, everybody's playing Boston, but now you can't play Boston. How much Boston can you play based on projected ownership, yada, yada. Are they your number 1 team? Or we also have Patrick Corbin, who gives up, I think he's given up the most homers in all of baseball this season. I could be wrong. He's ahead of Jordan Lyles, just around 2 per 9. The Rockies are kind of bad, but they're in cores, so that helps. And, Story's lurking, Cron's lurking, who's like 3.6K or 3.8K on DK, which is absurd. Is that the top 2 stacks on the board for you? Your thoughts as far as what you're doing with Boston, what you're doing with Colorado, and then Washington, the other side of that course game?
I do think Boston's the number 1 stack. And look, Boston could be a heartbreaker, right? But I do think they're number 1 stack on the slate in terms of who should, right, in theory, dominate a slate today. Definitely think it's Boston. I'm going to go ahead and give you my sneaky team right out of the gate. I definitely think this Minnesota and the Twins and the Tigers both have equal opportunity, but everyone seems to be leaning Minnesota. Charlie Barnes is not good to righties, and he's going to see Scope and Grossman on the right side of the plate, and Miggy and Candelario. And yes, these guys aren't some, power pack hitters, but these guys can put up runs in the right scenario. We saw what they were able to do yesterday against the White Sox. Didn't quite get there against Keuchel, but then all of a sudden they rattled off like 6 runs, right, in the 8th inning. And get this thing, or 7 runs, whatever it was. But they can score some runs in bunches in the right scenario. So I like Detroit as a sneaky stack against Charlie Barnes at virtually no ownership. And then last but not least, if you think Hyunjin Ryu is broken currently, you need to be playing the Yankees. Like, if you think something's seriously wrong, you need to be, and look at the Yankees ownership today, D. Like, look at it today.
Low. Very low.
This is the day to get on the Yankees when nobody's on them. Sanchez, 3,500. Gio, 32. Gallo's been slightly hot, 42. Stanton, 47. Rizzo, 43. LeMahieu, like this is the day to get on the Yankees. If you think Hyunjin Ryu is broken, I like those guys a lot. As a sneaky stack today, and I really didn't expect that. So those are kind of my sneaky teams. And then also, I think we go home run hunting in like the LA Rangers game, the Cleveland Royals game. I'm not saying we stack guys, but I definitely think we say, hey, where can I get a home run from out of this game? Who's a guy that we think can get there, right? Same thing with Houston. They're facing Michael Walker. He's not some elite pitcher. I'm all on board about stacking Houston every day. Very expensive, but they could absolutely score 10 runs tonight. Nobody would say they scored 10 runs. Wow. And then also with the White Sox, they're pretty underpriced mostly outside of, Robert, and even Yasmani's come down. He was over 5K. He's 4,800, did hit a home run yesterday. But overall, this team is still very affordable. So I like them as well. And then also opposite side. I don't know why we think the Reds aren't going to score runs against Ronaldo Lopez today. Joey Votto's been one of the best hitters in baseball, and we've got him projected at 1%. All he does is hit a home run every day, mostly. So I think, we go home run hunting in some of these other games to build around our stacks. And that's how I would like to approach this slate.
Yeah, and like the White Sox against Riley O'Brien. I mean, yeah, and they're going to be
What in the world?
Yeah, and I just went ahead and pulled up our ownership stuff as far as the Yankees. This is DK specific, and look, maybe it's a little bit wrong. It might be accurate, but here's what I'll say: there's not one hitter projected above 3%. Like, let's say it's 5%. That's still ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
insane.
Yeah, that is super interesting. Obviously. Any other stacks that are worth a note? I'm trying to see what we have as far as our consensus. I think we kind of basically mentioned everybody that's in our consensus rankings. Myself, Grant, Kirk Dees, Dave Potts, Cheese is good. We have Boston, Colorado, Washington, the Giants without Belt, the White Sox, Minnesota. Minnesota's kind of sort of somewhat interesting, and then Houston, against Waka, who's he's had some home run tendencies as well, and of course that Houston team has been kind of just sort of chilling. None of those teams is chilling, just waiting for the playoffs, but. Basically, taking a glance, I feel like every one of their studs are in there today. Is there somebody missing? Altuve, Bregman, Gurriel. Oh, there's no Tucker's in there. I think that's their. Maybe I'm missing something, but it's a strong, front six as far as Houston today. All right. Anything else to say as far as stacks? You want to play a quick stack game before we turn over the
Let's
questions
do
to
it,
chat?
man. We got to get the stacks game in.
All right, we got to be concise on this because there's a bunch of questions that Eli has thrown my way. Thank you, chat, for participating. Do subscribe, turn on notifications. Appreciate all that good stuff.
Nobody realized I wore my Braves hat for this win tonight. I'm shocked nobody caught on to that.
I saw it. I noticed that. I referenced that your team, and I think I did.
Oh. Yeah, you did. You did.
And you're not a front runner. This has always been your team, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Since they were losers.
Yeah. they had a rough stretch there.
And guess what? My basketball team is definitely losers. The Charlotte Hornets, but we're turning a corner. We're going to see what we can do. And the Panthers have been losing for the past 4 or 5 years, but we're 3-0. We beat Dallas this week. We're going to see what we can do. So here we go.
All right. 1 through 5, rank these, how you like the stacks. And as far as premium stacks, as far as a full stack, and put a second number on it as far as secondary stacks, maybe like a little mini stack. So give me 2 numbers, 1 through 5. 1, you hate it. 5, you love it. Boston.
5-5.
Colorado.
4-5.
Yeah, I mean the righty power, like Garrett Hampson leading off is going to be super chalky. 2.8K on DK. Yeah, we talked about Corbin's. Rogers is another guy at second base. Second base is kind of a rough position today, position by position stuff. He kind of sort of fits in your cash game mold as well. And of course, Trevor Story, CJ Crone. It's a pile of righties with Sam Hillard's in there as well as McMahon. But otherwise,
also this is second base. If you can get in Ozzie Albies. If he gets on base, that's an automatic steal. Wheeler's not going to stop him from getting second.
The thing with Albies is, and I agree with that, he's just so much better versus lefties than versus righties. He's almost like an average hitter versus righties. But versus lefties,
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. If he gets that walk and he steals, you're getting real close.
The White Sox, 1 through 5?
Oh, 5-5. Yeah, pricing wise.
How about Minnesota? Minnesota versus Tyler Alexander. Do we not have a Minnesota lineup just yet? I'm waiting for that.
I've got Minnesota at 4-5 today.
Let's see. Pujols went in the IL. No Minnesota lineup just yet. That's kind of weird. But Buxton and Polanco, and I think Mitch Garver. I like the Minnesota power a good bit today. Donaldson as well against the lefty. A couple more stacks. Actually, I had some written down here. Cardinals 1 through 5.
No. Nope. I'm sorry, 1. Just 1-1. Sorry, Dean. 1-1. My bad. I'm breaking the rules of the game.
How about the Angels?
3-3, 3-2.
All right, maybe we'll jump back to it, but I do want to knock out a bunch of questions that we have here from chat. First question is Yu Darvish versus the Dodgers. Is that a crazy thing?
I'm going to go with yes. I know he's had some good performances against them. I think the past 2 starts, one game he had 11 Ks, the other game he had 6 Ks, 6 innings. But I'm not trying to pick on the Dodgers right now. I think we can get better results from other pitchers in better spots.
I just have a hard time, like we talked about, all the pitchers that are kind of in that big jumble. Just if we can just kind of sort of run them down here, pulling it up here in the old lineup HQ. So we talked about like Sale, Singer, Woodruff, Morton, Wheeler, Webb, Bueller, Wainwright. Like, I just don't see him beating all those guys. I could see him surviving and being okay. But and also that San Diego's got nothing to play for. It's so sad. Remember being the year like this is going to be an amazing rivalry. San Diego and the Dodgers, and I think they had an awesome was it first week or first weekend?
SOP, same old Padres. SOL, same old Lions.
Is that a thing? I've never heard that before. I like it though. The Padres. So and Benny Velasquez has finished the season for him. Thoughts on Ryu on DK? We just talked about it, and
no, I'm not playing Ryu today.
If you're running 150, like I'm not running 150.
I'm running 0 Ryu. I'd run all my Ryu shares in the web. I really would.
I'm playing 8 lineups today on DK, like 2 or 3 main lineups, and it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Packy Naughton or Alexi as an SB2, like I think Alexi in theory has the bigger upside. He's flashed the bigger upside in the minors, but he's been wild too. And he's not been great so far in the majors. And he has a bad umpire, which you normally freak out about, but a young pitcher that's wild, I kind of want him to have an umpire that's going to give him the corners. But I don't want.
What if we told you Alexi only has a 19.2% K rate on the season? Yeah, it's not like it's 25%. If it was 25% with that 6.57 xFIP, I'd love it. But
that's 18 innings though. 18 innings. I'm not going to get too
but Dean. But listen, he's walking guys at a 20% clip. We can't ignore 20% walks and then say, 19%, 18. No, they go hand in hand, which is why he can't get the strikeouts like he did in the minors. I can't do it.
Well, that's the thing is the walks have continued. That's the scary part. The Ks I think will kind of sort of come. I think, but if you're walking dudes. And but
you can't K people if you're walking them at 20%. That's the correlation I'm talking about, right? If you're trying to paint a corner and you're getting a walk every time, forget it. You're not getting the K.
Let me do the quick cash overview on DK.
Quick cash.
Yeah. So my opinion is I think it's Webb and Sale for cash. If you want to play Woodruff, if you want to play Wheeler, if you want to play Morton, if you want to play Singer, if you want to play Bueller, like I'm fine with all of those. But for me, I'm almost definitely going to land on Webb and Sale. That's pretty much where I'm at. As far as catcher, Elias Diaz, right? A righty bat there versus Patrick Corbin in Coors Field, 3.8K. That seems like the obvious spot. If you don't have the money for that, Christian Vasquez on that Boston lineup. And if you have a little bit more dollars, want to be a little bit different. This is probably more of a tournament thing. Mitch Garver historically is absolutely annihilated. Couple lefties. Sal Perez is back in the lineup today. 44, 45, 46 homers he has in the season. Completely. Just insane. What an incredible season for him. I think he's only missed 1 game all year. Last I checked, DHing a ton, obviously, as a catcher. First base, the CJ Cron price is 3.6K. What are we doing? I love Bobby Dahlbeck too, but you probably should play Cron in cash, but I love Dahlbeck as well at 3.1. What do you do with that? Because it's got to be one of those 2 in cash. And then everybody else can be low owned in tournaments.
I think you just play Cron.
You're supposed to play Cron, I think.
He's 3,600. He's a better hitter right now, I think. Patrick Corbin is going to give up at least 2 home runs in this game. And if I had to bank on who he's going to give them up to, I'd say 3 and 4 Story and Cron. Absolutely.
Oh, man. I really like Dahlbeck, too. I mean, on FanDuel, you can play them both. You want to do something like that. Second base, I did reference. I don't love second base. It's just kind of you consider like the asking price and, all players. But Brendan Rodgers is pretty cheap. Batting second there, I'm okay with him. He probably is the guy I land on. But if you have Estella at 3.8, Polanco, if you have the salary more so for tournaments, I think India is more of a tournament guy as well. The soon-to-be NL Rookie of the Year. Hot corner third.
He's been great.
Yeah, he's been awesome. And I don't know, was he a big prospect? I feel like I wasn't really aware of his existence until this year. And I'm not a huge prospect guy, but I kind of vaguely follow it. I don't think he was like a monster prospect. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong on that. Somebody tell me in chat. Third base is sort of like one of the last places you fill in. Donaldson versus the lefty there, I imagine. Devers, lefty and left, but that's not going to last all game long. We'll get plenty of at-bats versus that bullpen as well. J-Ram, if you have salary, you probably don't. I don't love third base. It's another position where,
I do think DJ LeMahieu has good value there at 4,100.
Shortstop Trevor Story is 4.6K versus Corbin. Like, that's your cash game shortstop. That's where the conversation starts and ends, right? You got to play Story in cash. That's it. Unless
you want to play Alcides Escobar at 5,200.
Here's the thing. I don't. I love Bogarts in tournaments, but he's probably going to be the second most heavily owned player. And like a guy like Tatis or a guy like Anderson or a guy like
They've
Crawford.
got Xander at 12K. I think it's because he's 5K. It's, he's expensive.
And in the outfield, this is what I was referencing before. You like Hunter Renfroe. Everybody likes Hunter Renfroe today. 4.2K. What are we doing? That's way too cheap. JD Martinez at 4.1K. That's way too cheap. Enrique Kike Hernandez, no longer second base eligible. You throw him in the outfield at 4.2K versus the lefty, on the road, 5 ABs on layaway. Like, how do you not love the Red Sox in the outfield?
I mean, and I'm not a five batter guy, but I mean, I'd absolutely get in some 1, 2, 4, 5, 7 lineups tonight, which is probably what other people are going to do. Then you can get in some, 9, 1, 2, 4 or 7, 9, 1, 2, 4, leave out JD. Like, you can get really creative with the Red Sox today.
Love Soto. I'm not sure if he can get there in cash, but I love him. And Garrett Hampson's 2.8K. Like, what, that's it. The cash pool is really concise. We got to go, Will, because we have a bunch of questions I want to get to. Single entry SP 1 and 2. Like, I like Webb and Sale. Is that what you like as well?
Yeah, I do like Webb and Sale. I think that's a really good combination.
Most Rockies you play in cash, I can't bring myself to go beyond 3. Well, like Hampson, Crone, Story, Rogers, you could play 4. You could play 5 with the catcher. You could do it. Like, trust me, it's okay. It's Boston and Colorado. That's it. That's basically you're playing in cash. Any sports betting locks for the night? I don't have any. You just gave out some, right? You have anything else that you want to reiterate?
Oh, let's see. Give me a second. I know what you just go ahead and talk, Dean. Then when I get what I put out
Patrick
today.
Corbin, no tonight. No is not rostering him. He's not going to throw a no hitter. I'm not going to roster him.
Oh, Walker. I got Walker Buehler over 4.5 strikeouts. That was this morning at -161. You can still get that over 4.5 at PointsBet, BetMGM, and Sugar House. Those 3 over 4.5. I think that's pretty low for Walker Buehler.
Haas and Perez as one-offs on DK. Like, I love Perez as a one-off. Haas as well. As far as those catcher one-offs, do you approve of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why is Wheeler only 5% projected own on FanDuel? It's because there's a lot of good pitchers pitching tonight, and he's the most expensive pitcher, and FanDuel is not, the cap is not nearly as loose as it is on DK. Like, all those factors. You can play him, he's fine, but there's a lot of other good options, and he's also like suppressing your ability to spend up on some of the expensive bats that are pretty appealing. Let's see a few other questions. Minnesota stack. Can we talk about that one? I'm kind of jumping around. I apologize.
Yeah, I think we like it. And let me go ahead and address Jeffrey Brownlee right now. The Carolina Panthers are not the Philadelphia Eagles. Be very afraid, my friend. Be very afraid.
Jared Walsh on FanDuel. He's cheap enough over there. I'm okay with that. All right, give me a couple homers. A couple guys are going to bang one out tonight before you step aside and make way for crunch time. If you guys are premium members, you know how crunch time goes down. Take your guys to lock. Kevin Ross, tell you what's going on weather-wise. 2 experts breaking down the slate all the way up the lock. Give me a couple homers there, Will. Who's going yard?
Hunter Renfroe at the top of my list.
Yeah.
I actually like Jonathan Scope tonight against Charlie Barnes. And then I'm trying to avoid the Coors guys, right? Give me Yasmani Grandal against Riley O'Brien. Give me Joey Votto against Ronaldo Lopez. And then just for kicks, late night dong, give me Brandon Crawford at 5,100.
I like it. Thank you to Eli for producing. He did a great job today. Thanks, Will, for having. I don't know if this is our last baseball conversation of the season. It may or may not be, but if it was good times. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Do hit the like button on your way out. To subscribe, turn on notifications, all sorts of football content. We're still here for baseball as well, obviously, all the way up to the wire. We got to make way for crunch time. That was Will. That was Eli producing. That was baseball. That was Dean. We're out of here. Holler!